Should just anybody be allowed to step on the stage to compete in the amateur divisions? And in the pro division, should there be some guidelines in place for the posing routine and what you can or cannot do? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, recently we saw some rather out of the ordinary displays on the stage, one at an amateur show and one at a pro show. At the amateur show, it's questionable whether the person should have even been on the stage to compete, judging by the physique. Now, that's been going on for quite a while because I have competed in about 20 years. And back when I was competing, we had a regular at the shows that I did. I did Steve Weinberger, Beth Francis, their shows, the Atlantic States and the Eastern USA. Did it 4 years in a row. And he was a regular there. I competed in the Open and the Masters, primarily in the Masters the last couple of years that I competed. He was in the Masters division also, division above me. Definitely didn't belong on stage. Physique-wise, in his situation, there was some issues with him mentally. Nice person, but he was a little far gone. Let's put it that way. But when he went on the stage, and he didn't look like he should have been on stage, but at least when he went on the stage, he really tried to hit the posers. Should he have been allowed to compete in the first place? I remember the crowd used to really get him going. They cheered him on, and he soaked it up. But should have he been allowed to step on stage? His case, it was a little tough call because the guy, like I said, was really a nice guy, and he had some issues. But at some point, we have to draw the line. Amazingly, as recent as about 3-4 years ago, he's still competing. He's still doing it, but he went to a national, I was about to say national qualifier. He went to the nationals. He won his division in a national qualifier. What I'm absolutely certain happened was he was the only one that showed up. And he won, so he qualified for the nationals. The amateurs, it's a little, at the lower level, it's a little tougher call. You gotta, I don't know which way I lean on it, but once you reach the nationals, there has to be some sort of standard set in place. And to top it off, I think as far as qualifying for a nationals, if you win your division in a national qualifier and you're the only competitor in the division, should not be allowed to compete at the nationals. You have to beat somebody, even one person. And that, even if you have 1 or 2 people in it, doesn't mean that you really have a physique to step on stage at the nationals. But at least it wasn't just a gift. You did beat somebody to get there. Let's move forward to recent. In the amateur show, the guy definitely didn't look like he belonged on the stage. Now, as far as his routine, yeah, he did hit some poses in between his uh best best word I could think of, in between his conniptions. He was like all over swinging, flailing. I don't know how quite to describe it. You can see what he looks like. At some point, really, shouldn't there be a uh, a line where you just cannot cross? Let me just say this as far as the amateurs, then I'll move on to the professional. If you have somebody that comes along that doesn't look like they should be stepping on that stage, I think there should be something written up in the guide and the rules for the competition where the promoters have at their discretion. You know what? You can talk to a person. A lot of times they don't have to even strip down to be able to see it. You can look at a person and tell that maybe they don't belong on the stage. Question them. Ask them what their intentions are for being on the stage. I guarantee you have people that probably don't even train. They'll jump on that stage and they're going to have somebody in the audience filming them. And they're going to throw it on their social media for likes and hoping it will go viral. Talk to the person. Maybe the person has a good backstory. Maybe they can tell you something like, hey, a year and a half ago, I was 100 pounds heavier. I lost 100 pounds to get to look like this. Here, this is what I looked like back then. Then you can say to yourself, well, you know what? They really worked hard and to accomplish something. And when they step on stage, I remember when I was competing, when we stepped on stage, they announced uh, town and state you were from, what gym you represented. When a person like that steps on stage, you can let them know, hey, so and so went through a long journey to get here. A year and a half ago, they were 100 pounds heavier. Let's have it for, and let them come on stage and do their thing, because something like that, I guess you could say they earned it. Let's go to the pros. At the Italy show, I can't recall what his name was, but you can see him here. I'll say this, he did hit a few poses in the very beginning, but the rest was a freaking dance routine. It was just jumping and spinning and flailing all over the place. It doesn't belong, it really doesn't belong on the bodybuilder stage, especially when you are talking about pro bodybuilders. You know, we've been trying for years to go mainstream, which is probably never going to happen. But the point is, you're trying to go mainstream. How could they take you seriously when you see this? It's really not a good look. You're a pro. What are you doing dance? It's not a Saturday night at the club. You should be out there displaying your physique, hitting poses. Uh, I, my opinion, I don't know who the head judge was, but they should have told whoever's playing the music, stop the music and tell this guy, listen, man, if you want to dance, there's a club across town. You can go there and have a great time. You're competing. We want to see some bodybuilding poses or just walk off the stage. Now, let me finish up with this. I remember back in the day, we had people like Darren Charles, Dennis James, used to do that pop and lock stuff, but they would do it in between, in transition from one pose to the next. At that point, yes, the posing routine is supposed to be entertainment to a degree, and that is absolutely fine. Melvin Anthony, he was a dancer. He did all these fancy moves and everything, but the first half of his routine, he was hitting the bodybuilding poses. And then after he went through that for about a minute and a half or so, he broke out into his dance. Well, he did still hit some poses, but it was primarily dancing. At that point, I don't have much of an issue with that at all. And even Kai Green, he was a little more, I can't even think of the word I want to use, but he was still hitting bodybuilding poses. This guy we saw here in Italy, he was dancing. Yeah, I think he hit 3, maybe 4 poses, and he just danced the rest of the routine, and that was the end of it. I think at some point, some standards have to be upheld. You can give it more leeway in the amateurs, but as far as going to the nationals, like in the example I pointed out at the beginning of the video, and just recently there have been a couple of more people that I've seen on YouTube videos in the nationals that should not have been there. Once you start getting to that level, we have to really start to draw the line. And at the professional level, send out a freaking email to all these competitors and let them know, hey, listen, if you want to do a little something in between in your transitions from one pose to the next, fine, so be it. But when you step on stage, you're a bodybuilder. You're not a nightclub dancer. You should be hitting bodybuilding poses. And if you want to do a little bit of that stuff, fine. But the majority of that time you're on that stage, you should be hitting bodybuilding poses. I went off a little longer than I expected to. You might agree or disagree with anything I've said. Either way, let me know in the comment section. This is Michael Diamond. I'd like to thank you for watching Muscle Central.